What's good, family? I'm back with another video. Now today I'm gonna be reacting to Thomas Sowell again. I'm gonna give Thomas Sowell another reaction, man, because y'all seem to like when I do Thomas Sowell reactions. Then I like reacting to Thomas Sowell. I like hearing a difference of opinion, you know, that's different from my own. And I definitely disagree, because I know he leans a lot into Milton Friedman's view of how the economic system should go. And in my opinion, I don't think I think Milton Friedman, he a very intelligent man. I do think, like, I just disagree on a certain level on certain things that Milton Friedman said. But at the same time, though, I'm always willing to listen to somebody else's opinion. And yo, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, smash that like button up, watch this video all the way through, and bear with me. You know, I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal and a conservative. I'm like in the middle. Like, I'm in the middle of all this shit, to be honest with you. Like, I really don't know truly where I stand. I hear conservative policies that I like, and I hear liberal policies that I like. And I do progressive and conservative policies that I really, you know, whatever, you know. Anyways, we're going to hop into this Thomas Sowell reaction, and I'm going to give y'all a good one, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think, all right? All right? And here we, let me see. Here we go. Chair is squeaky too much. Okay, so he's going to talk about Obama's economic policy. I'm very familiar with this. Very familiar with this. So this is going to be a great conversation. Just to let y'all know, the last Thomas Sowell video I put out too, the ending point got cut off. I don't know how it happened. The ending point got cut off, but that's okay. You know what I mean? The ending point got cut off, so I'm gonna give y'all this is gonna be better, because I know how to like fix it this time. So yeah, so critique me in the comment section on what y'all think. But let's go. So we're talking about Obama's economic policy.
You argue in The Housing Boom and Bust that a lot of the thinking that implicitly and in times explicitly underlies the Obama administration's approach to the current economic crisis arises from Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal. And I quote you, the advocates of Obama's policies, quote, cite Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal as a model, close quote. Why?
Before we go any further, I want you to know that President Bush said during the economic crisis that he wanted to be like FDR. So, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I think his name was Hank Palsy. I think that was his name, Hank Palsy. He was the the Secretary of Treasury at the time. He wanted to implement a stimulus package into the economy that, like, he didn't want to say $1 trillion, but he went high as $1 billion, and he wanted to pump money into the banks in order to save the banks from falling apart, and he also wanted to pump money into the citizens to create basically confidence within spending. So I want to know that, like, there's two bailouts that happened that everybody seems to blame completely on Obama. The first bailout happened under Bush. The second bailout happened under Obama. Now, just saying all that before he goes. Let's go.
What is it about the New Deal that permits people to cite it as a model with a straight face 8 decades after it was enacted?
Because of the widespread belief that it was the New Deal which saved the country and got us out of the Depression. In the
You mean it wasn't?
In politics, what matters is not what the facts are. What matters is what people believe. Because people vote on the basis of what they believe and not on the basis of what the facts are.
All right.
Guys, it was absolutely the New Deal. It was absolutely the New Deal that moved us out of the economic collapse. It was absolutely the New Deal that moved us out of the economic collapse that happened in 1929. It was absolutely the New Deal. FDR's policies rose to the occasion, and they helped out. They put regulation on businesses, and they helped build the economy back. Now, one thing you can blame on the government at that time was, I think it was called what was it called? It was called the Smoot-Hawley tariff, right? The Sowell tariff, but didn't happen under FDR. That happened under the president that was blast before FDR. I can't remember the name. But the Sowell tariff was one of the things that caused the economic crash. But it wasn't just that. It was banking practices, stock market practices, multiple things that happened that no one anticipated could happen, right? So there's no one to fully blame for what happened during the economic crisis. But the New Deal was definitely the policies that the government put in place in order to move us into a better position definitely affected and definitely helped us move out of the Great Depression. Maybe, I don't know. Let's see what explanation he has for that, though.
This is, in my judgment, this is critical. This is one of the most important aspects of this marvelous book, The Housing Boom and Bust. You write, Tom, quote, the larger question that remains as relevant as ever, 8 decades after the enactment of the New Deal, was it the failure of the free market that led to the massive unemployment which persisted throughout the 1930s, or was the Great Depression prolonged by the government interventions that were intended to shorten it, close quote. And your analysis is as follows.
Well, there are a lot of ways of going at this. One is to look at the sequence of events, and we can look at the sequence. In October 1929, the stock market crashed. 2 months later, unemployment peaked at 9%. Over the next several months, the unemployment began to subside irregularly, down to 6.3% by June of 1930. So 8 months after the stock market crash, we have not yet hit double digits in unemployment. June 1930, when it's 6.3%, the government intervenes the first real intervention on a massive scale under Hoover, the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, which were designed to...
So it was under Hoover. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. Hoover. It was under Hoover, the Smoot-Hawley tariff. I don't know if Hoover was a Democrat or... I'm having a brain fart right now. I can't remember if he was a Democrat or Republican at the time. But the Smoot-Hawley tariff was definitely something that affected the economy at that time. It did peak at 9%, but then it dropped. It was an economic period of almost 10 years that was bad. Like, and literally, it took time, but we moved ourselves out of it. So what is he talking about? Like, I don't know. I'm triggered. But let's see. Let's keep going.
Reduce unemployment by restricting imports in the United States so that more of these goods will be built in the United States by Americans.
Wait. I want to make one more point, too. Keep in mind, we're talking about the Smoot-Hawley I wrote it down, but the Smoot-Hawley tariff, right? Smoot-Hawley tariff. What does Donald Trump want to do with the economy? He wants to tariff the economy. If the Smoot-Hawley tariff, from what he's saying, played a role in the economic crash of the economy, is he just as critical of Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada, China, and Mexico? I can guarantee he's not. But, I mean, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see, because he's saying Obama's economic policy, which had no tariffs involved in it whatsoever. Obama's economic policy had nothing to do with tariffs. Obama's economic policy was all about spreading the wealth, right? Like, that's what he said to Joe the plumber, and a lot of people were using it. But like, what he was trying to say was basically like the people who have a significant amount more than other people in this country should contribute a little more to help build up other people so other people can get to the point that they got to. Now, that was part of his economic policy, but let's keep going.
It sounds good. 1,000 economists from the leading universities around the country signed a public appeal to Congress and the President not to pass this bill.
Facts.
That it would not do what they said it would do.
It's 100%
it would
true.
not reduce unemployment.
They were talking about the tariffs. The economists at the time were talking to Hoover about the tariffs. A lot of economists didn't like the New Deal, but there's more of a reason for it. I'm going to let him finish, but there's more of a reason for it. I'm going to tell you guys in a second. Let me go.
Employment. It would in fact lead to retaliation that would make it harder for Americans to sell their goods in other countries. As often happens, no one paid the slightest attention. The bill was passed,
so he just admitted it. That the tariff was what the economists were talking about at the time. They were not talking about FDR's New Deal. They were talking about the tariffs. But there were some economists that had a problem with the New Deal because they felt as though they were implementing too many progressive policies, and those progressive policies would lead to inflation later on down the line. That's what some of them were saying at the time. But so he admitted it that they're talking about the tariff specifically. And I want to research after this, like, which one Hoover was, but we'll go.
Within 5 months after the bill was passed, we had double-digit unemployment for the first time. This is from a bill designed to lower unemployment. And when it hit, and this time it did not subside. It never fell below double digits for the entire remainder of the decade of the 30s, not even for a single month. Not all of it was the smooth holy tariff. When FDR came in 33, he then put in the National Industrial Recovery Act. He put in the Agricultural Adjustment Act. He put in the Wagner Act. He issued more presidential executive orders than all subsequent presidents throughout the remainder of the 20th century. So the government intervened on a massive scale, and yet the unemployment never came down below double digits for the entire decade.
So we get the stock.
Yes, it took a decade, but it did come down. It took a decade of building back what collapsed in order for it to happen, but the policies that were enacted definitely played a role. Definitely. Look up what the Recovery Act did. Look up what the New Deal did. Look up what it did. Oh my God, this guy. Like, like, and it's crazy because like this guy is considered an intellectual. Like, and I respect his opinion, but there are not many. I'm just gonna say this. There are not many economists that are gonna agree with what this man is saying. I'll put that into perspective. However, I respect his opinion and him having the ability to have it.
Market crack Thomas Sowell, quote, shortly before the Obama administration took office, the man who would become President Obama's chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, said, quote, you never want a serious crisis to go to waste, close quote. Why do you find that significant?
Because it means that the crisis is presenting them with an opportunity to do things they wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
Oh, man, I knew he was going to say that, man. Let me let him finish, and I'm going to say something in that.
That's how he sees it. And everything that has happened since the new administration indicates that that's how the administration as a whole sees it.
So check this out, right? When economic collapses happen, right? Progressive policies are, prior to an economic collapse happening, progressive policies are damn near impossible to pass. They're impossible to pass because people don't really want to change what they see as already doing good. And sometimes when progressive policies come in, a lot of progressives are looking at it like, okay, later on there might be this problem that could happen. Like, for example, Keynesian economics. If you look at Keynesian economics, it's setting money aside for the possibility of something happening later, right? And a lot of people are like, well, later is not now. So if later is not now, who cares? Like, you know what I mean? And that the Keynesian economic principle is the Keynesian economic principles are very progressive principles, but they're really complicated to pass, right? So when an economic crisis happens, most of the time, who ends up coming to power are progressives. That's what ends up happening because people want change, right? So when progressives come to power, it's like, okay, now we need to enact all these policies for later on down the line that could be very beneficial to us down the line. Like, for example, during the New Deal, what is it called? During the New Deal, I forgot what it was, man. I want to say it was, what was implemented during the New Deal? My bad, I'm having a brain fart, y'all. But during the New Deal, something was implemented that years later down the line used to be, Social Security. I think it was Social Security. So correct me if I'm wrong or right on that. But Social Security was implemented during the New Deal. One thing, during the 2008 housing market crisis, we were able to implement a healthcare plan that, yes, it cost us a lot at first, but over time it's starting to build and become something that people don't even understand. They call it Obamacare, but people don't even know like it's called the Affordable Care Act. And a lot of places use it in poverty-stricken areas because it gives people the ability to have health coverage. So progressives use economic crises, but not in a way like they're trying to say. They use it in a way to say, okay, look, let's help build the economy with this. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to be for later on down the line. People need to be covered with health care. Social Security needs to be covering people with in their last bit of lives. And now, like, they're talking about UBI and things like that during the economic crisis and things like that. But all these things are going to be things that are going to lead towards the future. So I don't like how they're trying to say it. Progressives are using those moments to actually benefit us later. In my opinion, guys can comment what you want.
Crisis is providing an opportunity for President Obama and his supporters to do what they would have liked to do
Yes.
but would otherwise have been unable to.
Just as in the case of the New Deal, that the New Deal is, most of the key people in the New Deal were for big government intervention long before there was a stock market crash. It's just that the stock market crash gave them an opportunity to step in. It's another parallel is that people are talking about all these highly intelligent people with whom the president has surrounded himself. And FDR surrounded himself with highly intelligent people. That is no guarantee of anything, except brilliant rationalizations for failure in some cases.
The president is always going to be surrounded with highly intelligent people, whether they're conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat. It doesn't make a difference. The president is always going to be surrounded by intelligent people because these are the people that help him to understand specific things in the economy that need to be dealt with, right? Not just in the economy, in all aspects of the government, right? The president doesn't know everything. He has to be advised by people who are intelligent in these areas to help them solve whatever problem they need to solve. I don't know what point he was trying to make by saying highly intelligent people, but whatever, like highly intelligent people need to be in these positions. We need people who understand what's going on in order to explain to us what's going on or be able to help us fix what's going on.
If you look at the stimulus package, the one thing it has not done is stimulate. Prior to the...
That's because not enough money is pumped into a stimulus package. When it comes to actually... So explain this to me, right? If he's correct on the stimulus package didn't do anything, right? Bush did the first bailout and Obama did the second bailout, right? I'm fair on that. Both conservatives, both Democrats and Republicans played a role in helping the economy get to what it was like in 2016 when Donald Trump came in. Look at the economy in 2016 when Donald Trump came in. It was doing good. It was on an upturn. It was doing good. It was doing good when they came in. Both people enacted policies. Obama finished it off and fixed the economy. And in 2016, Trump had a good economy. All he had to do was keep the shit moving. And I'm not going to blame Trump for COVID, you know what I mean? But there was a good economy happening underneath. Come on, Thomas. So let's keep going.
Bailout money for the banks. The banks were lending a certain amount. After the bailout money, the banks were lending less. The stimulus means that he's not depending just on the government's own money being spent, producing the result, that this will stimulate others in the economy. It is not. The circulation of money, the speed at which money circulates in the economy, fell to the lowest level in 50 years. It fell during...
After the stimulus.
Yes. Business reduced its investment by something like 25 or more percent.
Yes, because there was an economic crisis happening at the time. Oh my God, man. This guy.
So that if you're looking in terms of what actually happens rather than the words that are used, what actually has happened shows no such stimulation as they're talking about.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, go ahead. Turn that off, man. I respect his opinion, though. I respect his opinion, and as an American, he's an American, and love him as an American. He's a fellow black person. I respect him. I respect his opinion. And I definitely think he's a very intelligent person. I do think that he's trying to think through where the issues are and how to solve the issues. But I just have a difference on how I view those things go, I respect his opinion. Thomas Sowell, I'm gonna get his book. I'm gonna check out the book. Herbert Hoover, though, while I'm here, I want to see something. What was Herbert Hoover? Herbert Hoover, what was he? The U.S. president. Okay, he was. So Herbert Hoover. I know it was Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover. Herbert Hoover was part of the Republican Party. Write that down. Herbert Hoover was part of the Republican Party, and the reason why I wanted to figure that out is because it always seems like economic crashes happen under Republicans. 2008, Bush. 1929, Herbert Hoover. The crash of what was it? The crash of what? Which one? 1979. 1979. Let me see, 1987. No, I'm sorry, 1987. The black market crash in 1987. Who was president? I'm pretty sure. Make sure I'm not tripping. Reagan. It's always a Republican. Anyways, though, subscribe. Make sure you turn on post notifications. Thank you for watching the video all the way through. And give me your opinion in the comment section if you disagree with me. Love all disagreements.